my eyes, they tell no lie. See my teeth. I guess I was wrong, trying to be so strong. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Friday. Come on, Leela. Put it on me. Come on. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. And if this is your first time joining me, I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, human service counselor. Good morning, good morning. I show up every Friday, 11:30 to about 1 o'clock or longer if the conversation is hitting. And this is a Q&A check-in, and we cover particular subjects. This week we're talking about closure. I'm going to talk about 50 seconds. Okay, good to see you. Again, let me know where you're seeing me from. We're going to be talking about closure today. Ways to be able to create closure after a negative or toxic relationship, which is connected to the book that I'm working on. Good morning, Ellie. How good to see you. That's one of my moderators right there. And let me just make sure I got to see it. I was supposed to. There we go. But, and again, if this is the first time that you are here, by all means. Yeah, I think this is the first time that you are here, by all means. Yeah, I think I put it where you can block accounts, Ellie. So you're good today. St. Petersburg, Florida. So anybody get out of pocket, Ellie. I think you should be able to block them. So if not, just let me know. I'll take care of it. But yeah, we're going to be covering, actually I got 16 ways to be able to gain closure from a negative relationship. But number 16, I don't think any of y'all going to like. So I'm going to say 15 and a wiggle. So I'm not sure. And the music that we're rocking with today, we're going to be rocking Leela James today because actually I'm going to go over the Leela James lyrics from Put It On Me, which I think fits exactly what we're going to be discussing today. Oh, let me go back. There we go. What we're going to be discussing today and talking about closure, because I'm going to go through her lyrics. If we have time, we'll probably be here a little while, because this song really speaks to what we're going to be dealing with today, especially with trying to create closure for ourselves. Hey, Miss Ellie. So we have another Ellie in the house. Gary, Indiana. Yes, pleasure. And I'm a big Leela James fan, so I love her music anyway. And also, this is a Q&A, so by all means, you can, if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions. What's going on? User is that 1887. We just going to call you from the A. Okay, pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. And again, we're talking about closure. And before I even get into the list of things to be able to get closure, please understand that closure does not come from the person who hurt you. Do I remember you? I do not. I'm sorry. The name doesn't. I remember names, and I see a lot of people that use user, so it kind of blanks out on me. So you have to give me a name. Hey, what's going on, Sam? How's it going? So please, if you give me a name, I can kind of connect the name. I try to remember that. I'm pretty good with names, or I'm actually even better with faces. Names is tough. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting older now. But we're talking about closure, and closure comes from you. Closure does not come from the person who hurt you. Closure comes from you, and I'm going to give you 15 ways to gain closure. Actually, I'm going to give you 16, but I don't think you're going to like number 16. So we're going to say 15 and a wiggle, because 16, a lot of y'all going to be like, nope, I'm not doing that. I get it, but I still have to add it to the list because it is definitely a way to go about it. So again, so let's get this started. First and foremost, as I said, good morning, 15 and a bonus. I'll take that. So let me just say good morning, everybody, again, who I am, Keith K.L. Belvin. I am a crisis specialist, human service counselor. I'm also an author. I'm an educational consultant, former educator, New York City Department of Education for 20 plus years. I live in Delaware now. I run an after-school program for elementary kids, young ladies and young men, the young kings and young queens. I'm also a private counselor, so for those people that need private counseling. I am also a Christian counselor because I happen to be a man of faith. But just because I'm a man of faith, it does not mean that I do not work with secular folks. I do. Just because I am connected to my faith, that does not mean I project that onto you. And it does not mean I cannot help you if you're going through something. I help people identify the crisis that they're going through. You shook hands with OJ. All right, that's close. What are we, how does that connect with things? Talk to me. Need private counseling. Okay, I'm here for that. And also, if you want any of my information, it's in my bio. Just click on the Linktree link. All of my information, my books, other websites, all that stuff is there. And I work with the state. I work with the federal government. So this is what I do. And I come on there just Fridays. I'm not a person that comes on live during the week. You might see me in somebody else's live where I might come in just to add something, but I don't come on because, one, I don't deal with a whole lot of drama, and I also don't believe in just wasting people's time. So I don't come on just to come on, and I'm not sitting on TikTok all day. I got work to do. But I do come on Fridays because I'm here to help. So with that said, let's get started. And I want to get into this because we got a long list today. All right, so I want you to rock out with me. And please remember while you're here, tap the screen. Let's get those hearts going. I get a kick out of the hearts going up and down on that right-hand side. Also, if you have not, make sure that you let me know where you're from. I like to know where the people that I'm talking to are from. I get a kick out of that. We seem to cover all the states, which is always pretty cool. And even had a couple of folks from out of the country, which is always great, because I do know that I have conversations and interactions with people from other countries. Okay, from NY, yes, got you, like that. And so I do enjoy that part. All right, and I'm going to get to the Leela James, my degree is in health and wellness. Okay, cool. Yes, thank you, I tried. And yes, I have a master's degree in curriculum writing, assessment, and teaching. I have a master's degree in human service counseling, specializing in Christian ministry. So yes, I come to the table with receipts. I've been trying to do this helping thing for years. I taught for 23 years, as well as I was a dean of students. And I currently am in Delaware as a private counselor, as well as running the after school program, which I own, by the way. I have a contract with the state, and I just finished up a contract with the federal government in an attempt to, again, help people heal. My target audience is women between the ages of 40 and 70, but I help brothers, sisters, children. I help anybody who needs help, but I specifically speak to a lot of sisters simply because I used to be the wolf. Now I'm the shepherd. And I even wrote a book about it called From Gigolo to Jesus. Yeah, I'm a busy man. I got to be, because at the end of the day, when you work for yourself, nothing comes if you sit still. And as an entrepreneur, I use all of my talents and skills and everything to not only help people, it's me being paid for the things that I enjoy doing. And, you know, you hear the phrase, if you like or love what you do, you don't work a day and all that other stuff. Well, I do. I enjoy it. I really enjoy trying to help people. I really enjoy conversing with people. I am a paid speaker as well. So I stay busy because I enjoy it. But I do not work the weekends. And I always make sure I take time out for family and myself. So I don't run myself ragged, but I am here and available. Okay, let's get into this today. And thank you. I see where everybody is coming from. That's what I'm talking about. And again, shout out to all of you being here. All right, let's go. Number one, right? How to gain closure from a negative relationship. Let's get into this, okay? Because we got a long list today, as well as I want to go over the Leela James lyrics that speak to what we're talking about. Number one is be acceptant of your situation. Accept that the relationship was toxic. Accept that the relationship was negative. Okay? Number one, be acceptant of the situation and accept that the relationship was negative and toxic. Thank you so much. So we have to accept what we just got out of, because it's not going to make sense to move on if you don't first accept what you were doing was bad. You have to. Now, we're not going to lay blame on anything. We're going to just accept that we were in a negative situation. Accept that the relationship was toxic. That's how you start to make peace. You were in something bad. And again, like I said, Leela James speaks to that when we go through her lyrics. And I don't know if we've actually paid attention to the lyrics, right? And again, put a 1 up in the chat. Now, I want you to be very real with me, guys, because this is an interactive room here. Put a 1 in the chat if you knew you were in something that was negative and blamed yourself, even though you know you weren't the one. How many? Put a 1 in the chat. If you blamed yourself for being in a negative relationship, even though you weren't the one who was doing the negativity. Put a 1 up in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. There we go. And the reason why that's important is because I want you to see that you're not alone. All of us at one point or another has felt it was us when we knew it wasn't. But that's the part that I'm getting to when I talk about acceptance. It's super important because that acceptance is necessary, because if we can accept it, then we can deal with it. If we can deal with it, then we can start to redirect it. And that's what I'm working on. My job as a counselor is not to make you think the way I think or feel the way I feel. My job is to help you understand how you feel, help you create a plan to get away from the negative feelings, and then create the positive pathway that you need to get on so you can get to a position of healing. So eventually you don't need me at all, other than to hang out. We could do that. All right, so we got number 1. Okay, number two, one of the ways to gain closure from a negative relationship. Number 2, allow yourself time to grieve. Allow yourself time. Allow yourself time to grieve. Yes, you got out of something bad. Yes, you spent a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever amount of time it was. Give yourself time to grieve, which means don't be out here jumping into the new relationship. And don't be out here hitting the streets because you angry and whatever. The last thing you want to be is out here in these streets, angry, frustrated. We don't make the best decisions that way. Give yourself time to grieve that the demise of the relationship. Give yourself a chance to grieve that you wasted time with somebody who couldn't be who they said they were going to be. Give yourself a chance to grieve from somebody who may have lied to you or treated you badly. Need a time. We're going to get to that one. Circle that self-love one there, Ray. Circle that one. We're going to get to that one too. So number 2, give yourself time to grieve. Good morning, Christy. Good morning, guys. And again, if you guys are just popping in, please let Ellie know where you're from. Tell me where you're from if you've already done it. No problem. And again, keep tapping the screen. Let's get those hearts going. But let me know where you're from. I always like to see the different places that we are talking to people at. Colorado Springs. Let's go. Okay. Number 3, and I just heard it. I think I just saw this one put up. Number 3, self-love. This is when self-love is critical. I love it. North Carolina, Tallahassee. Yes, go. Number 3, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'll be in Charlotte in June. I'm supposed to be performing a wedding for a former student in my mentor program from 13 years ago. I'm supposed to be performing his wedding. Hey, there we go, Close the Soul. There we go. Yeah, I'm supposed to be performing his wedding in June. I'm excited that he asked, but they're going through a little something, so I'm working to keep them together. I hope they don't knock each other off before that. But number 3, self-love, guys. This is how we start the healing, right? We have to now turn our attention onto ourselves. Turn the love that we were trying to give to somebody else, or the love that we were craving from somebody else and couldn't get it. Turn that on ourselves. We have to now perform self-love. We now have to grant ourselves grace and love ourselves again. Pour into ourselves. Now, I know when hurting and I know when getting out of something toxic, love is not the thing that you feel. Love is not the thing that you think is there, but it is. It is to start looking at yourself, loving how you look, loving what you could be, loving what you're going to be, loving the fact that you are no longer in that toxic person's vicinity. Find the littlest bit of love that you can and hold on to that. And we're going to build on that. But self-love, yes, turn that love on yourself. Super important. That's number 3. Let me mark these down so I can see which one we got here. Okay? Now, you may say, but Keith, how do I do that? I've been hurt. This young lady, this young man hurt me. And how am I supposed to love myself when I am in the midst of pain? I need to know what that looks like. Okay, well, let's talk about it. I took all my love back, and the people I love, there you go. There you go. That's one way I like that. Hello, Rocks. Hello, hello. Well, one of the ways that you do that, right? Number 4, remind yourself of your worth. Now, let's park right there for a second. Remind yourself of your worth. Number 4. Remind yourself of your worth. You are of value. Number 3 and number 4 connected. Self-love comes with turning all that love you was given to somebody else on yourself. And number 4 is reminding yourself that you're valuable. Yeah, stretch yourself around the crib. Damn right, I'm that dude. I'm that chick. Yes, you have to become. Your self-worth starts to become the paste to cover up those wounds, to make them heal. We put a Band-Aid on. The Band-Aid doesn't heal. The Band-Aid covers up to block anything else from getting in there, and the skin heals itself. The Band-Aid is not the cure. Well, unless you're 6. If you're 6 or 7, they think Band-Aids heal everything. Like, kids don't even want aspirin. They want a Band-Aid. They fall, can have a Band-Aid. My head hurt, can have a Band-Aid. But we're not talking kiddie stuff now. We're talking adult stuff. As adults, we know that Band-Aids are just coverages. But when you're young, you think a Band-Aid is everything. But at the end of the day, we have to remind ourselves of our worth. I mean, I think we all miss those Band-Aids. It was so much easier then. We could just ask for a Band-Aid and your whole world changed. I have seen kids, you can put a Band-Aid on like a whole cut. They good as long as they're not bleeding. I used to fall as a kid around my head. I think we all did, but Band-Aids was the cure. Don't come on, don't front on me. A fresh, remember when they started putting colors on Band-Aid? No, I don't want to get sidetracked. Removing people that are not, I'm getting there. I actually circled that one, Shonda. We're going to get that one too. Some of y'all are coming up with some of the things on my list. I love it. So circle that one there. So yes, remind yourself of your worth, because this is where you're going to start to get yourself upright. You're going to actually start to look in the mirror and don't see the damaged person. Band-Aid stuff and ginger ale. You done said a word right there. Don't get me started. Yeah, ginger ale was everything. You coughed, ginger ale, let's go. And orange juice, let's go. But yeah, this is where you're going to get yourself upright, guys. This is where when you sit up and it's like, okay, they hurt you. Okay, they were crap. Okay, they lied to you. Okay, they cheated. Okay, they stole from you. Got it. Find your value. There is still something valuable about you, and I'm going to tell you how I know this. Is that as you get yourself upright, you will come across somebody who digs you even in your broken state. But you will not be able to receive that person if you are still broken. What we're going to do now is look to make that fix. And all of this that I'm talking about is just one section of the book that I'm working on, the 12 steps of how to recover from a toxic relationship. This is just one of the areas. And each week, I think we got another 7 to 8 more to go. But each week I'm covering different areas that's going to be in the book, because someone here on TikTok asked me about how to deal with recovering from a toxic relationship. So I decided to write a book. So this is what I'm doing. This is actually one of the areas that we're working on. We actually spoke about a couple of the other areas with getting your happiness back and practicing self-kindness. Those are the other 2 areas that we talked about. Okay. So you guys ready for number 5? I'm going to give you some tips, ways that we can now start to work on this healing. Put a 5 in the chat if you're ready for number 5. And while we're waiting on the 5s that come up in the chat, number 1 was acceptance of the situation. Accept that relationships was toxic. Number 2 was allow yourself time for grief and to grieve, Number 3, self-love. And number 4, remind yourself of your worth. So let's put a 5 up and we're going to go into it. Do you talk about giving yourself grace in the recovery? Yes, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to grace too. Of course I talk about grace. I'm a man of God. You got to add grace to it, but we're going to get to that in a second. And if I don't, write that one down. So if I miss it, bring that to the table. This is an open forum. I don't want to shy away from anything. What we shy away from is the negativity, because I got a monitor in there who's not playing. And people who I hurt wanted to hurt them. And we're going to get to that too. That's what I said. We're going to cover it. I live in a globe. We live in a globe, not in the world, around like a pizza. Jesus is the only way. Know that truth. Okay. I don't disagree, but not everybody is a believer in Jesus. So we have to address those people too, Joe. So it's not just that. I agree for me, but if somebody is not of the faith, how do we help them heal? Or we just chuck them to the side and not deal with them? So we got to take everybody into conclusion, but I got that. Okay. So I saw enough number 5s. Here we go. We're going to write about it. We're going to write about it. We're going to write down our feelings. That's one thing. I got 2 parts to this one here. Number 5, we're going to write about it. Journaling is a great way to get out current and past feelings. Put them down on paper. Write about it. Get out your journal. Go buy a journal book. Open up a whole new what's name on your computer or on your phone. Write about it. Write about it. Write about how you feel. Write about what you think. Write about what happened. Write about where you want to go. Write about how much you want to ride over to his or her house with a shovel and beat him upside the head. But we're not going to do that. We don't advocate violence because violence is not the answer. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for the hearts. Keep banging those hearts on the side. Thank you. Is that okay? Uzo? And if I got it, Uzuka, I got you. You're on the treadmill right now. Feel good? Okay, got you. So that's one of the things is write about it. And also, here's what I want you to do, right? I want you to actually write a letter. I want you to write a letter to your ex. I want you to write a letter and I want you to put everything you want to say, all the anger, all the disagreement, the hate. I want you to write a letter, no email. I want you to write a physical letter or type out a long 40-page letter. And then here's what I want you to do with it. Don't give it to nobody. Wrap it up, put it in an envelope, put it away. You're going to unsend a letter. You're going to write the letter to the person. Okay, thank you. Got you. You're going to write the letter, but you're not going to send it. The letter is going to absorb all that energy that you want them to feel, but you're not going to send that. It is designed to help you pour out all your negative emotions into that letter. So two things. One, you're going to start writing journaling to begin with. Second is you're going to unsend a letter. And what I mean by unsend a letter is you are going to write everything you want to tell them. Oh, okay. Let's see there. So we got our first block of the day. There you go, bro. You're going to miss out on all this good information because you couldn't control yourself. Okay, Asher. Anyway, now back to the rest. And that's how we do it here. But anyway, so here we go. That's what it is. You're going to write it. You're going to start journaling. Can you call them a name? In your letter, yes, you can write whatever you want. You're not going to speak to them. We're not talking to them. I got you, Ellie. The letter never reaches them, guys. Please understand this. It is an unsent letter. First of all, we're journaling because I want you on a regular basis writing down how you feel. But the letter that you're writing is for you to get out all of the anger, the hurt, the pain, everything. If y'all got it in and really like the physical part, write that too. I like the way we did it sexually, but I hate what you did to me. Write it all. Write it all. You can write, whoever, it's your letter. You can put whatever you want in it. Pour your pain into that letter. Then fold it up, print it out, put it in an envelope, and put it away. Put it away. It is for nobody but you. Because we may come back to that in some years and you will see how far you have moved since the time you wrote that letter, and your journal will tell the story. Two things. So when I say write it for number 5, that's why I said let's park it here for enough. Writing the journal is going to tell the story. Writing the unsent letter is going to be the blast that you wanted to get on the phone and go, you know what, mother, you did. And that, save it. Put it in the letter. Hold on to it. Put that letter up. Let me tell you how important that letter can be if you get to a great place. 1, it'll remind you how blessed you are when you get to a much greater place. 2, if you have children, you'll be able to say, you know, one time this person hurt me. Look what happened, but look where I'm at now. And your self-love and self-worth will be on swole. Because sometimes when we look back in a safer space, we can actually see how far somebody actually took us down until we got ourselves back. Remember, we're talking about ways to gain closure. Ways to be able to close the door to move on. Has nothing to do with the other person. Everything about closure has to do with you. Everything about closure has to do with what you're going to do for yourself, not what somebody did to you. Who you allow to come in at this point, not who was there before, who let that happen. It is about what you are now surrounding yourself with and how you're going to move forward. Okay, we're going to move on to number 6. Okay. Number 6. And this is where we're going to grant ourselves grace, right? If you are a person of a spiritual positioning like I'm a man of faith. This is where you lean on your spiritual positioning. This is where you grant yourself grace and you lean on your spiritual connection. Now, if you are not a person who is spiritual, if you're not a person that believes in any type of form of religion and that's just not your thing, what you're going to lean now is you're going to lean on your vision, your personal vision of where you will see yourself once you're healed. Now, two things here. Okay, this is what we do. It could be considered a therapy session. I do have one session today, and then I'm good for the rest of the weekend. But if you are a person of a spiritual positioning, if you're a religious person, whatever your religion is, you're going to lean on the beauty of the comfort that your religion offers. But if you are not of a spiritual positioning, you're going to lean on your vision of what the healed you looks like. And you're going to put that out in front of you because that's going to be our focus. So those of us that are of, say, the Christian faith, which I am, then I turn to scripture to offer counseling and healing and comfort. If you are a Muslim, you're going to turn to your Quran, and the surahs are going to speak to you, and they're going to explain to you what Allah has in place for you, what you're interested in. And if none of that is anything that you're connected to, then you're going to use yourself. You're going to say, this is what I see for myself when I am good. And that becomes your vision, and that's okay. See, the one thing when it comes to a spiritual positioning, it is never, or it should not be, let me just say that, I can't say it's never. It should not be a projection of what I believe onto you. Never. That is never a quality place to be with anybody when talking about faith. Faith is an intimate, internal thing. It is about how I move with my belief in my life. If you want to ask me why, I'll explain it. If you want to ask me why I believe, if I choose to, I'll explain it. But it's not for me to try to push you into what I think. That's control, and I'm not trying to have control. And there's no way we can try to get out of a toxic relationship and then push somebody into another one. Why what? And again, when you ask a question, you got to give me clarity on what you're asking, because a lot of comments go by that I don't see, so I don't know. Are you asking why to me or the why to somebody else? Talk to me. And if we're not in a spiritual positioning, your vision of yourself becomes your guide to who you choose to be. Oh, you said to ask you why. Okay, yeah, because if somebody asks me why I feel a certain way, I have to see what's the value in the conversation. No, because no. And I'm so, that's why I ask for clarity. Because sometimes when a person asks you why you chose the pathway that you chose or why you believe what you believe, they may be curious and really curious to the idea of, well, why are you so passionate? And that's a great opportunity to offer by giving a transparency. But what happens is too many of our brothers and sisters in the faith project it outwardly like a hammer, and they grab you up by your shirt and beat you over the head and tell you what you should and should not be. And they don't realize that they're as toxic as the relationship you just got out of. What I have found is that true transparency comes like offering somebody food or water. You don't jam food or water down somebody's throat. You offer it with true kindness. And true kindness always makes a person more comfortable to indulge you because they see that you're genuinely offering. And here's how I said it, and I said this before. I am willing to set the table for other people to eat and trust that they will turn back to me and say, Keith, you're not going to join us? Yes, come on. But I got to be willing to set the table for you. That's just me. But if it's not you, I get it. So number 6 is lean on your spiritual positioning. And if you are not of a spiritual positioning, lean on the future version of yourself. Lean on your vision of what you will look like healed. We're going to need that because that's going to help guide you. They might be going to heaven. They may be in the basement going, there you go. So we have to have that. And again, keep tapping those hearts. Let's go. Let's keep tapping those hearts. I love that. Let's go. Let's keep that string of hearts going on the right side. There you go. So that's number 6. And we will take a little break in it too, because like I said, I'm going to go over the Leela James lyrics too, which I think are going to speak to. I'm in Delaware, by the way. Thank you for asking. All right. So number 7. All right. Number 7, almost halfway there. Number 7, create new rituals connected to healing. Now, what I mean by that, I ain't out here talking about no freaky rituals. Don't be out here and just, we're not talking about no freaky rituals. What I mean by create new rituals, it means now let's change the things that we did on a regular. Let's charge in a different direction. Let's join new groups of people. Let's try Delaware, the state of Delaware, not Delaware, Ohio, Delaware, the state, on the East Coast. Let's create new rituals. Let's go. You know what? Once a month, I'm going to go get my hair done. Once a month, I'm going to go and go shopping. Once a month, I'm going to go take a day trip or a weekend trip. I'm now going to become part of a new group of whoever. I'm going to maybe take up bowling again. I'm going to create new rituals for yourself. I bowl every Wednesday and Friday. Okay. And then I have tournaments that I bowl in, and we go from there. So my ritual is simple. I don't schedule anything on Wednesdays. I don't schedule anything Friday evenings because I'm bowling. And I have that's a standard for me. That's actually part of my self-care for myself because I enjoy bowling. I collect comics. And that's another ritual of mine, is that I collect graphic Marvel and DC comics, graphic comics over here. So I have a Marvel section and I have a DC section. I'm also a Marvel movie junkie, so I can't wait for February 17th to see Ant-Man in Quantumania. Yeah, I'm a 55-year-old comic junkie. But those are some of my rituals, besides my religious rituals, of course, but that's me. But you want to create new rituals that connect to healing. Don't connect to new rituals that create a negative for yourself. We're not doing that. But correct to new Oregon. Okay, cool. Connect to rituals that are connected to healing. Now might be the time to get that trainer. Now might be the time to join a walking group. Now might be the time to join a bike group. Now might be the time to just get with some folks that are out doing positive things. Now might be the time to join a business community. Something that's going to lead you to a positive place. Do you attempt to date during this process? Depends on where you are. If you are okay with having conversations with somebody that could lead to something and you're comfortable that you're in a good state, yes. But if you're in the process of healing, no, you got to take time to let those wounds heal. We leave that Band-Aid on till what? When we lift it up and there's nothing under there. So that's what I would say. Hello. Welcome. And please, all you guys that's coming in, let me know where you're coming in from. Hey, I don't see any hearts. Let's tap those hearts going up on the side. Keep tapping that screen, guys. It lets me know that y'all are digging what I am saying. So keep tapping that screen. Let's get those hearts up. Okay, so number 8, before we take a little music break. You know me, I love music. Can't do this without no music. Is there a way to list for those who missed? Yes, anything that you missed on here, I go back over before the end of this thing. So I will go back over, as well as every one of the lives. If TikTok is acting the right way, I transfer over to my YouTube page. So you can actually see the weeks previous, as well as like 300 something videos over on my YouTube page. So everything goes from here over to YouTube, and you can subscribe over there. And that way, if you miss it or you got to work or whatever, you can always catch it over there. So everything goes from here over to my YouTube page, as well as all the other videos. I've been making videos for years because I've been trying to do this help thing. And little sidetrack, little note. This goes to the counseling, right? Because often I hear when people are trying to figure out counseling, they don't know what to do. Your counselor, would I love it to be me? Yeah, of course. But your counselor should have receipts. And what I mean by receipts, they should have video or pictures or notes, testimonies. There should be people that speak to how they helped. Speak to it. I have 2 on my TikTok here. On my website, you see the list of testimonials that I have of people telling me what I've done in their lives. But like anything else, especially with counseling, and don't think counseling is like any other business, because it's still a business. If I tell you I'm here to help you, I should be able to show you who I've helped. And you should be able to check on from other sources, what have I been? Or who have I been? If your counselor can't show you receipts, I don't know if that's the counselor for you. So we'll see what we can do there. Sure. That might be something. We'll see what we can do. But that's the key, is that you have to make sure that you're dealing with somebody who does what they say they do. I don't tell people to bring me their pain because I don't know what I'm doing. And yeah, I got the degrees on the wall, but you can buy degrees nowadays. Yeah, I got 2 master's degrees. Okay, I went to school to do that. But what I tell people all the time is do a Google search. You will see that my books are out there. I'm an award-winning author as well. You will see that there's videos of people saying, thank you for helping me. You will see on my website that there are testimonials from different places. But here's the better part. Do the Google search and you will see that nothing negative comes up about me. And I make sure that because I try to put out positive energy even when I'm not in the mood. Because at the end of the day, we cannot help people if we're not transparent. And we cannot help people if we're not out here actively trying to help people. People need to see that. People need to feel that. Okay? All right, here we go. Moving back. Let's get back on. Okay, if y'all ready to move on, put an 8 in. And again, I'm moving a little quickly because I have a whole lot that I want to go through. And again, I want to get to Leela James's lyrics, like I said, that speak to what we're talking about today. So we got a lot to go through today. And again, real quick, again, 8s. Let me see them 8s. Let me see them 8s. Here we go. Come on. Let me see those 8s. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. Number 8. And this is a list on how to gain closure from negative relationships or toxic relationships. How to gain closure. Okay? Here we go. Number 8. You got to sit down and reflect. But positive reflection. And this is dangerous. This is why I left it towards the middle part of the list, because when we start to reflect on what happened, some of us will start to feel the pain all over again, which signals that we might not be healed or where we think we are with our healing. I saw it the first time. We're not going to address that right now. I said, I'll hit you later. Just hit my inbox and let me know. Sure, we'll see what we can do. Okay? I got you. We'll see what we can do. But if you're going to come in and try to promote, you're going to leave me to block, and I don't want to block anybody who says that they're homeless. But again, let's do that. Okay? I got you. Hit me in my inbox. We'll see what we can do. All right. So here we go. So again, the reflection has to be positive. And the reason why we're reflecting is we want to see what missteps we made. We want to look at where did we let a person get past our defenses? Why did we let a person treat us in a way that we may have known to be negative, but we rocked with it anyway? And that's important, is that we got to replay certain things. In my counseling sessions, I tell the folks that I work with, we're going to go back into the past to get information, not emotion. And I say it that way for a reason. I need you to share your past with me so I can see how we got to today. But I'm very careful in how I direct you to do that, because if you bring the emotion from the past forward, now we're in a very negative situation, a very negative position. And now we could spend a whole lot of time. You're spending a whole lot of money trying to deal with something that we could have left behind us. So I'm very careful when I ask you questions about things that have went on in the past, and when I ask you to reflect, because I want you to be very comfortable with sharing information, but we're going to be careful with that emotion, because we're emotional creatures and we start thinking about, and he used to and she used to. No. I asked you, how did this happen? Let's focus on that. Let's stick to that and let's work on that. But that's why we have to heal. Because if we don't heal, the minute you're trying to start dating again, and that person says or does anything that reminds you of what happened, could be a very messy situation, male or female. Okay, so it's very important. So reflection, number 8, reflection is necessary. Very, very, very necessary. Keep tapping those hearts. Let's go. Let's keep tapping that screen. Come on now. Y'all getting lazy on me. Come on. Let's tap those hearts. Let's go. We're going to do, okay, so we're at number 8. I'm going to give a couple more. No, I'm going to finish, and then I'm going to do Leela James. I'm not going to break it up. I want to go through the whole list because we have some new people here today. And again, if you're new, please tell me where you're seeing me from. Please tell me where you're viewing me from. I love to hear that. And if you're new, I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, human service counselor. I come on every Friday, 11:30 to 1 o'clock, or 1:30 if the conversation is hitting. And my goal is to try to help you deal with the different issues or problems that you have in your life. Right now, we are dealing with how to gain closure from a negative relationship or a toxic relationship, which are going to be connected to a new book that I'm working on. But I'm also a 6-time author, as well as a contributor to other books. So I come to the table with receipts. I am also a human service counselor. a person who specializes in helping people deal with the problems that they are in or have been dealing with. And this is what I do. I'm also an educational consultant too. I run an after-school program for young adults. I actually posted a video today with some of my kids doing their thing. The young kings I met yesterday. I see the girls on Tuesday. All right, here we go. Number 9. Put a 9 up in the chat. Let's move forward. Let's go. Okay, here we go. Let me ask a question. How do you reflect without emotion, especially if those reflections were hurtful? No. You're going to have emotion, but what you have to do is be real, because we have to consider what we're looking to reflect on. So when you're reflecting, you want to look on the causes the best you can. Emotions are going to come. That's actually the sign that you still need some healing. Let me go back to who asked that question. So Al Wilson? I want to make sure I got it right. So when we look back, what we're looking back is to try to gain the information of how something happened. We're going to get emotional, especially in those earlier stages, because in those earlier stages, everything is raw. Everything is hard. But Annette, thank you so much. I love it when you give me the names. Thank you, Annette. So Annette, what it is that we're going to look back at stuff, because part of the healing is to deal with that emotion, but we want to try the best we can to not bring the emotion forward. That's why working with a counselor is so important, because I may say, take that minute to get yourself together, because we still got to deal with why you did this, or we got to deal with why we had that. Hey, shout out from Atlanta. Because again, emotion is going to be there. That's how we know we're healing, when certain things don't bother us anymore. But we have to get there. So yes, when you reflect, yes, you're going to open up the door. And I'm not saying be without emotion completely. Don't get me wrong. And if I made it seem that way, I apologize, because I'm not trying to say we're automatons. We're not robots. But we try the best we can to gather the information up without the pain. The pain is there. That's the reason why we got to work on healing, is to get away from the pain. So again, if I made that seem a certain way, I'm sorry. That's not my focus. Okay. All right. So number 9, and Annette, I think this will speak to a way to do that as well. Number 9 is surround yourself with supportive people. And here's how you'll know if they're supportive. They are around you trying the best they can to pour into you, not take from you. That's how you know that you have supportive people. Be mindful of that, because you're hurting. People know you're hurting. Wolves sense when a lamb is hurting, and they start to go, if I can get that lamb away from everybody else, I got that. So we have to be careful, because in our painful state, wolves know that. They sense it. People who are manipulators and who are notoriously big on trying to take from other people, they can see that. That's another reason why you want to distance yourself for a while you are healing, because if you're out there and you're feeling some type of way, you are opening up the door for somebody else to victimize you. And we don't want that. We really don't. Okay, so I want you to surround yourself with supportive people. People who you trust, people who you can pour out your emotions, who are not going to take those emotions and then abuse you with it. Okay, and it's going to lead me to the next one that I'm coming to in a second, but I just want to leave that there for a second, because often we'll say we have nobody to talk to. Well, me as a person of faith, I always have somebody to talk to. But if you're not a person of faith, this is where social media is powerful, right? Because social media allows you to come into a space, offer without anybody actually knowing you if you don't want them to know you, and you could actually put some stuff on the table. But you got to be very, very careful of the circles that you enter into on social media. Now, I try to create a safe space here. Shout out to Ellie, and I don't know where our other moderator, I know she has a time difference, but I have Ellie here who's monitoring the chat, so we can try to keep all negativity down to nothing, as well as I try to keep an eye on some of it. Because I'm trying to create, no, let me take that back. I'm creating a safe space for you to put out whatever you might question, and know that it's going to be heard and not used against you, where we're in here just foolishness. I don't do drama. I don't do drama at all. You will never see me in a live or anywhere else where there's drama. The minute that the drama picks up, I check out, because there's nothing being learned at that point. There's nothing being shared, and negative energy can be absorbed. I'm not taking that negative energy with me and bringing that to my family, friends, and maybe even my counseling sessions. Why would I do that? And sometimes it bothers me when I see the number of people who just, they thrive on a negative energy and they don't realize that that energy is being transferred into them and now they're going to take that somewhere. Keep tapping that screen for hearts. We all better give me some hearts. Let's go. Start tapping that screen. Come on, stop playing. I like that. Come on. I'm like a little kid. I want to see the hearts go up. Come on. There we go. Now, there we go. See, I like that. I'm a big kid at heart. Y'all, y'all have to excuse me. I get on a lot of professionals' nerves with how much I play. I was actually told by some professionals when I was teaching, why you play so much? And that's why your kids in your classroom wilding out. My kids in my classroom having a good time. Leave me alone. And I was a bully when I was coming up. So that's how I guess I'm so playful now. I was a bully. I wasn't always a bully. I got bullied and just decided I'm going to become the bully. So good kids can be pushed into bad things. Trust me when I tell you. But anyway, so yeah, that's why we have to be careful of what we allow to pour into us. Because if you get into a negative circle or you got the wrong people around you, they can do as much damage to you as the person at the relationship you just got out of. So be careful. But if you have supportive people around you, this is where you can start to have your reflection and feel comfortable, because you can turn to somebody and say, girl, I was thinking about old boy, yo, I was thinking about old girl, and I started to feel this way. And your partner could be like, man, stop thinking about that chick. Or, yo, girl, stop thinking about that dude, and stop thinking about that person. And let's focus on this. They can help be the border that you need to stay on the reflection instead of drifting into all the emotion. That's where, Annette, that we can get ourselves to where we can deal with the reflection and be comfortable with it. So I try to connect what I'm saying because I'm trying to build a plan here for you. But let's go to number 10. And number 10 is, if you can't do all that on your own, this is where someone like me comes in. Counseling or therapy. Now, there is a difference in counseling and therapy, because therapy will deal with certain therapeutic aspects, as well as, depending on the type of therapist that you go to, they may even be able to give you medication. A counselor may deal more with the person, may deal more with the planning and the assessment. Then there's coaching and there's consulting. So you need to know which one that you need. But again, they should be connected to some form of mental health practitioner. They should be some person connected to some area of mental health, even if it is your church or mosque. Now, I currently work with a couple of churches. I help create mental health ministries where I show churches how to create mental health pathways in the faith so their members can get the healing that they need. I work with a church here in Delaware, one in Maryland, and one in Alabama. I think I've seen one or two people in Alabama. And so this is something where counseling is important, because what a counselor does is offer a professional insight to things. But here's what I bring to the table as a counselor, right? I bring all of my resources, my intellect, my knowledge, everything, right? But what I don't bring to the table is emotion. I do not have a dog in the race, or a horse in the race, or a pony in the race, or whatever. I don't have an emotional connection to whatever is bothering you, but I have an emotional connection to helping people heal. That is different. So when you share with me what someone has done to you, I'm not caught up by that emotion. My job is to listen to everything and figure what's the best pathway that I can help this person to healing. Hence, you will see in a lot of the stuff that I post that healing requires a pathway. I lean on that because that's what I believe in. Healing requires a pathway. I am that one of those pathways. I am not the only pathway. I am not that arrogant, but I am one of the pathways, and I create pathways. And I also understand that the person I'm helping with needs my help to see the pathway on their own. Because it's one thing for me to lead you. It's another thing for me to get you to where you see it so I can get out your way. I'll give you an example of what that looks like. If you're in a cave of darkness with a candle that's not lit, you have nothing that can help you, and here you are in the midst of darkness. I have to climb down into that cave with my candle, reignite your candle, and then help lead you out of that cave, and then show you how to keep your candle lit so when I leave, you now still have a lit candle, and you do not have to worry about that cave, because now not only do you know how to light your candle, Not only do you know how to keep your candle lit, you are already out of the cave. So that is what counseling does. It is not for us to try to get you to be what we want you to be. It is for us to help show you how you can get to where you need to be without us. Actually, and I say this all the time, I have to work to get you to fire me. Yes, I have to get you to the point that you go, Keith, I don't need you no more. Really? You don't need my counseling services? Yes, that's a good thing. Because if we reach that point the right way, that means I've gotten you to a point that you are good. And I have no problem with going off into the sunset. Yeah, I'm dramatic because I'm an author. I write stories. I tell great stories too. I write stories. I write fiction. I write poetry. My brain works a little bit different. I actually see myself like that. Walking off into the sunset and know that I've helped that family. I'm good. On to the next family. As corny as that sounds. Yes, I am one of these alpha men who's in touch with his feminine side, which I see as an argument that I hear all these men making on social media. Why? There's nothing wrong with being in touch with your feminine side. Brother, I ain't out here trying to be no woman, but I ain't trying to be as hard as a brick every day. Well, I take that back. Well, we're adults. Y'all understand what I'm saying. But the idea is that it is our feminine side that allows us to create things that show a different side of us. And I say this to all the brothers that I talk to. When offered correctly, a woman doesn't have a problem with seeing the sensitive side of a man. She just don't want no soft man. Put a 1 in the chat if I'm right. That you have no problem with a man exercising his sensitive side, but you don't want no soft dude. Put a 1 in the chat if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, tell me. Do you suggest going back and reading? Of course. Oh, yes. Of course, reading your journal. That becomes massively important. Who asked that question? Let me go back here. Boo, yes, of course, because the journal is what's going to tell you how far you've come. Your journal is going to tell you your story. Your journal is actually going to say to you, man, you good, girl, you good. Because when we go back and look at our journal, like sometimes I'll go back and look at old posts and go, I remember what I was doing when that was going on. But our journal tells us, it tells us a tremendous amount. It also can help reiterate the healing, because when we look back and go, I can't believe that woman broke me down like that. That man broke me down like that. Oh, no, I'll never be like that person there. Oh, yes, we go back and read that journal once we're healed. Keep writing. Keep writing. I don't care if you got 3, 4, 5, 6 journals. It'll make for great reading later on. Keep writing until you're at a point where you're healed. And then when you go back to read through healed eyes, you'll be like, I ain't never let no man get me like that. And have me like this. Did I actually write that I was going to toss myself in front of? Oh, no. Over that chick? Over that dude? So yes, you definitely go back and read. Okay, guys, so here we go. So we got a few more, and then I'm going to get into the Leela James part, because Leela is going to help us out with this lesson today as well. And again, thank you to anyone that is new. I don't see any hearts. Y'all going to stop cheating me on my hearts. Y'all better give me some heart. You know what? We're going to take a hot 30 seconds, and we're going to go on a heart run. I want to see nothing but hearts. What if you have recorded? Yeah. However you journal, whether you write it or record it, recording's fine too. But don't go back and listen to it just to listen to it. Let's go on a heart run, 30 seconds. Let's go. I want to see the hearts. There we go. Come on, y'all gonna stop playing with me and give me my hearts. Let's go. Let's go. Tap that screen. 30 seconds. 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. You know what? Come on, Leela, while we waiting. 22, 21. Come on, let's go. Because she's going to talk to us later on. Come on, Leela. Woo! Come on. We got about 15 more seconds. Come on. Woo! Heaven knows everything you did to me. Woo! We're going to talk about that. Come on, heaven knows everything you did to me. I love that line right there. Woo, go and say it's my fault. Now, we're not going to get into the lyrics, right? We're going to talk about it. Go and say it's my fault. That's what's going to make you feel good. Ooh, we're going to talk about Leela James in a minute. But yeah, we're going to go back over that song in a minute, because her lyrics to that song is going to fit some of the things that we're talking about today. But let me finish this first because I don't want to get sidetracked, because when you have ADD, butterfly go by and I'm messed up. Okay, so number 11. Let's get back on track. We got another hearts. I appreciate all the hearts. See, I got to get some hearts out of y'all. And remember, keep tapping that screen, guys. It actually helps. That's the payment. That's all I ask, is that you give me some attention and that you give me some hearts. I will give you some content that you can use. So that's the trade, okay? I'll give the content. You give the hearts and attention. Here we go. So put 11 up. Put a 1-1 up in the chat if you're ready to get back onto this list. Put 11s up in the chat, and let's get back to these last 5. And number 16, I don't know if you guys are going to like, but like I said, I'm going to give you 15. 15 and 1, I don't know. Y'all might disconnect when I give y'all number 16. So I got to get everything else in first. And shout out to Ellie. Let's give everybody put purple hearts up for my moderator Ellie, who's doing a masterful job in the chat. Shout out to Ellie. Let's go. Put purple hearts up. I want to see at least a couple purple hearts for Ellie doing her thing in the chat. Put a purple heart up for Ellie doing her thing in the chat, because I used to do all this by myself, and she offered, and I just love the fact that she offered. That's what true support looks like, and I am honored to even have her in that position. And we don't know each other. We met on social media, and I respect what she does, and I respect the help that she's given me. It really makes it easier for me, because sometimes I get caught up in looking in these comments, and a part of me be wanting to be like, you really just said that, bro? I don't look like Big Pun. I mean, I'm thick, though. But anyway. All right, so I see the 11s that went up, and shout out to Ellie. Here we go. So number 11 on the 15, almost 16 list on how to gain closure from negative relationships or toxic relationships. Number 11 is get back to the things that you love. One of the things that happens when we are in relationships that go sour, part of what happened when it was going sour is we stopped doing the things that we love to do. Whether it was from the pain of the relationship, whether we just gave in to our partner, whether we just felt that, you know what, it wasn't about us, whatever caused it, now it's time to get back to the things that you love. Really, you don't owe anybody anything. It is time to get back to the things that you love. It is time to spring from the bed in the morning, thank the Lord that you got up, and then start doing the things that you love, because that is going to help enhance your healing. Get back to the things that you love doing. And actually, it ties right into number 12, but I want to stay right here for a second. And if you're not sure what you love, that's when you start making a list. What were the things that you enjoyed? What were the things that you enjoyed pre-relationship? Because at some point, you have to find what works for you and what that looks like. Okay? And so I'm going to give you 12 also, because 12 and 11 are connected, right? Number 12, reclaim your happiness. Reclaim your happiness. Number 11, get back to doing the things you love. And number 12, reclaim your happiness. You're not going to stay sad for nobody. I don't care who she was. I don't care what he was to you. You are not going to stay sad for anybody. Now, I'm going to give you a little story right here, right? When I first got separated from my ex-wife, we had 2 kids. We made some decisions. We didn't have the third one. I write about it in my book, From Gigolo to Jesus. I'm not happy about those decisions, but we did those decisions. So we have 2 kids instead of 3. After 10 years and it failing tremendously, I was back home with my mother and grandmother. So to be in my 30s and to be back home, I was feeling internally beaten down. I was feeling like a hard failure. How did I end up back at home when this is not where you're supposed to be when you say I do? And I remember sitting in my bedroom on the bed, head in my hands. I was crying. I have no problem saying that. I was crying. And here's why I love Southern Baptist women. Now rock out with me. Southern Baptist women just have a hard edge to themselves. They love the Lord. Don't get it twisted. But they'll put a foot to their ass too. And my grandmother was a Southern Baptist woman. She came through the door, didn't knock, by the way. So, my grandmother was one of those types. Didn't knock, came through the door. And she looked at me on the bed, tears going. And she said, first of all, boy, wipe them goddamn tears. And I'm trying to get my face together. She said, let me tell you something. You cried tonight, and then you get your ass up and start living your life. God didn't make you soft, and neither did we. That woman is not going to break you. You get your ass together. So you cry tonight. You do whatever you got to do tonight, and then you get your ass up and start living your life. And then she said, and here, I'll give you something. You want her to feel it? Then you become the best you that you've ever been. You become something that she's never seen. You ain't got to say a word to her. You get you together and watch how God works. She ain't say goodbye, nothing. She just turned around and slammed the door and walked away. Now, here I am, the person who now have master degrees and all that other stuff, right? But it was a Southern Baptist woman with a high school diploma who gave me some of the best information I ever got in my life, because that's what I needed right at that moment. And not only did it make sense in its simplicity, it was fantastic because she was right. Because here's what she said: embrace your emotions now. Embrace your emotions. Cry if you have to. Didn't come in and say, why you soft and you a man. None of that. Didn't even make it gender specific. She came through the door and said, cry tonight, meaning get that out. And then she was clear. But then get your ass up and start living your life. Now, again, excuse me if I offended anybody with the curse words. I am reiterating what my grandmother said. So I apologize if my language is offensive to you. It is not that I'm trying to be. So let me just give that disclaimer. But what she was saying was, you do not stay in the position of pain. You move forward. And then she gave it clarity. Become something that she has never seen. Now, please understand what my grandmother did in that short instance. She addressed my pain, gave me an option of how to deal with my pain. She gave me a directive on how to get past the pain, and then gave me vision of what to do once I'm clear of the pain. That's what I do in my counseling. So when we crap on our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents, please understand they didn't have counseling, but somehow they made it to get us here. Learn to listen. And learn to listen to the message and not the way it is given. Because Lord knows I was like, how you a church going woman and you be adding them curse words in there? And she would out for a curse word and then say, Lord, the Lord know my heart. And I said, that's what we going with? When I became a man of God, my grandmother and I, thank God I had opportunity to spend time with her once I changed my life around. Because I started to see not just some of the hypocrisy, but I understood older saints. So I understand how to talk to and deal with older saints because my scriptural knowledge is on point. But I do understand where our older saints are coming from. And that is something I explain to all of the kids that I've worked with and I still work with. If you have your grandparents, and I say this to you as well, if you have your grandparents or great-grandparents, get at their feet. Shut your mouth and listen to them. Let them talk. Yeah, they're going to sound crazy. They different. They very different. Different. But here's what you're going to start to see. You're going to start to see the world in a way that no book can teach you. They are living history books. Get at their feet and listen. I sat at the feet in 1984 of my great-grandmother who was 91 at the time. She lived until she was 95. The information that she gave me was better than any book I had ever read. And that is how we make a connection to certain things. So when we pour that into our own children, it comes from a solid place. And when you're hurting, nobody knows pain better than our grandparents and great-grandparents. So when they speak to pain, they know pain. And let me tell you something. To this day, long she's been going my daughter's going to be 9 this year. She's been going almost 10 years. And my mother too. And there's not a day go by that I wouldn't love to sit down and say, damn, old ladies, y'all was right. So I give that in how I do what I do. And that's why women are my target audience. And I said this in a video I posted on my page. Every woman I help, I feel like I'm helping my mom when I couldn't. Because my mom had gotten so caught up in just her negativity, I couldn't pull it out. And then eventually when she passed in 2020, it's too late. There was no more else I could do. So all I can do is try to help other people's mothers. So this is what I do. All right, so here we go. So we got 11 and 12, guys, okay? So y'all got it. And don't be laughing at my grandmother because y'all know. All right, put a one in the chat if you got a grandmother like the one or had a grandmother like the one I just mentioned. Put a 1 up in the chat if you had or you have a grandmother or grandfather who would have gave you that same information. Told me cry tonight and get your ass up. She wasn't playing either. Put a 1 up in the chat if you had or have a grandparent like that one. And Lord, my Caribbean grandparents, woo, Lord, they not playing no games. None. None. Didn't play no games. There were no games to be played. But the information was real. Even when some of it was kind of crazy. Because my grandmother would say some crazy things that I'd be like, you know that's illegal, right, Grandma? And she was like, I don't give a fuck. Thank you for the ones. I'm glad to see that other people had grandparents like I did. She woke up with a bucket of water. The dishes were washed. There we go. Come on now. I'm from an era when we had a washing machine that you had to wring the clothes through the little thing at the top and go put them out on the clothesline. I don't know if y'all know anything about clothesline management with clothespins. I'm from that era where we had a washer and you wring the clothes out there. Ain't no extra. You had like one cycle, and you had to run the clothes into a big metal basket that after you ran the water off of them, then you had to take them outside and hang them up on a clothesline. And we had the little metal thing that you lifted the clothesline up so the clothes wasn't dragging on the ground and the dogs and other stuff couldn't make them dirty. So you had to take the little wood pole or metal pole to hold them up. So you move the clothes up off the ground so the kids ain't running through them. So you still hang your clothes on the line? Hey, ain't nothing better than that fresh air dry. Just something about clothes when they air dry. Had a washboard. I remember the washboard. You're scrubbing and seeing that dirt come off. There we go. Well, we started with a washboard and graduated to our just one cycle washing machine when I was younger. They smell better too for whatever reason. Fresh air, bleach, and whatever soap that you were using always smells better when some air hits it. Little cap full of bleach in the clothes and a little cap full of bleach into the dishwasher liquor. I mean, the sink when they're washing dishes. Our parents was out here using just straight poison to wash dishes. And I know some people still put bleach in the water, but we do have antibacterial liquid now. But back in the day, my grandma was splashing caps of bleach in the dishwashing liquid and mess around and don't wash that off and your food tasted like bleach. Saturday morning, wake up and your head hurting because the house smelled like bleach and vinegar. And don't act like my grandma was the only one out here with water and vinegar spraying down the windows and everything else. Man, listen. I wake up with such a headache between the vinegar and water and the bleach. Yes, thank you. All right, I'm going to get back to the list. Y'all got me here thinking about my great... I grew up in a house full of women. All the men, but me and my father reconnected when we was 39, but I grew up in a house full of women. Mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, aunts. I grew up with all women. Lord, I know how to cook. I know how to wash clothes. I know how to do it all. All right, here we go. Number 13, I still use vinegar too. Vinegar and baking soda when you want to clean off the pans and stuff like that to remove hard baked on stuff. When I want to clean sneakers, I used to show my sons who are now grown that you can just simple cleaners. You spend all this money for cleaning when you got everything that you need with baking soda and vinegar will pretty much clean it. And lemon, vinegar, baking soda, and alcohol is pretty much everything you need in the house and you're good. You're going to pass out from the fumes, but you're good. That's all you need. Spend all this money for all these chemicals. All you're spending money on is perfumes. And you don't need those perfumes. Lemon, lime, baking soda, real vinegar, white vinegar, and bleach. And you are good. And we mixed all them chemicals. We can talk about what some of them chemicals might have did because some of our families out here cooking hooch at the same time. But we'll talk about that. All right, number 13. Let's talk about number 13. Here we go. Let's get back on track, guys. I'm sorry. See, I told you I got ADD. You get me talking, I run off the map. All right, number 13. Put 13s up in the chat. Let's get back focused. Let's get this list through, and we can, again, get to Leela James. Number 13. Yeah, see, now you get me started. I'm not going to talk about the polish on the floor, because everybody had that brown polish in there, and everybody had that little spray. Anyway, I'm just saying. Number 13. We'll get to that in a second. Number 13. All right, change of scenery. Change of scenery. One of the ways to help you deal or get closure from a negative relationship, it may be time for a change of scenery. Now, let me break that down for you. Depending on the level of the pain, the level of the situation, or what your current financial situation is, it might be time for you to leave the area that you're in just to give you a fresh start somewhere else. That's one. Two, it might be time to change the places that you go to because of the memories that are connected to the person that you were with. So that part of change your scenery may now be try to find other places that have no memories or have no negativity, so you're not automatically reminded of someone that you with. And the third part of change your scenery is it might be time for a trip, day trip, weekend trip, or just a straight up long, use all your PTO time trip to get you away somewhere where you can be treated like the king or queen that you are, and just to take your mind off of everything that you're going to deal with. Now, be careful when you're talking about taking long trips when you are hurting, because you don't want to be in a foreign country or in a foreign place or even in a different state, and you are giving helpless person, helpless man, helpless woman vibes, because again, you are not in your familiar surroundings. So that is another reason why this is towards the end of my list, is that you want to be able to change your scenery once you have yourself together. That's why I put it this further down on the list, is that you may now, if you're feeling like you're good, you just want to get yourself, now it might be time to make those changes, okay? And the list is not in any particular order, but I do put some things together that I think are going to help that way. That's how I put it together for today. But change the scenery. And it might be necessary. It might be time when you finally said, I'm going out to the West Coast, might be time. Because remember, when you change your scenery, like if you move, right? Only the people that meet you are only going to meet who you are right now. And this goes to number 14 in a second. But when you make those changes, we're making moving changes. When we get there, no one knows your past unless you let them in on that. So you actually can change your scenery and become a new person. And all that pain and dirt and trash that was in your life is behind you, because now people are only going to meet the you that you present to them. And so you actually can start a whole new group, a whole new circle, whole new friends, and none of that will follow you unless you choose to allow it to follow you. And that goes to number 14. Number 14 is live in the present. Because if you're going to make these moves, right, and you're going to make these changes in your life, the thing that we have to do more than anything else, and I could have put this at the top of the list, but I put it at the bottom next to this one here, is because living in the present means I'm focusing on right now. I'm focusing on today. I'm focusing on tomorrow. The only thing I'm going behind me to get is information. Man, where was that restaurant him and I used to go to? Okay, that's it. What was that spot that me and her used to go to dance at? Okay, that's it. I ain't thinking about nothing else. And if I don't need that information, then I ain't bothering with it. But number 14, live in the present. By living in the present and by staying grounded in the present and having given yourself an opportunity to heal, you are walling off that emotion. You are closing out that emotion. It doesn't mean that it disappears. It just means it has less of effect and will have less of effect as you go forward. The more that you stay in the present and move forward, the less that pain will come. It's going to be there. We're not machines. We're going to have connection, especially if the love was really deep on your end. That doesn't go away. And if you really truly love somebody and they just didn't love you, that doesn't really end. It just gets replaced because you realize you didn't get love back. But it doesn't mean that love wasn't real for you. It just wasn't real for them. And that's something that's hard to deal with, but we have to. That they couldn't love us the way that we needed to be loved. And that's, again, why living in the present is so critical. You know what? I'm here because they couldn't love me the way I needed to be loved. And that goes back to reminding yourself of your worth, self-love, acceptance of your situation. All these things are interconnected because, again, it goes back to loving yourself, which was on the list. Self-love and reminding of your worth, number 3 and number 4. And again, if you're just joining us, please let me know where you're tuning in from, as well as keep those hearts going up. I'm seeing them hearts being real sporadic. What's going on with my heartbeat over there? Why y'all fading on me over there? What's going on with the hearts? Come on now. Y'all killing me with the hearts, man. Y'all got your phones in your hand. Just go ahead and tap the hearts. Come on, let's go. Who that one? That one right there. Who that one hurts? Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, number 15. And again, I'm going to give you number 16. Y'all got to promise not to leave me. We're concentrating. Okay. All right, number 15. Here we go. Ready? Number 15. on the list of how to gain closure from negative relationships, and I'll go back over all 15 in a second. Actually, it'd be 16. All right, number 15. And I left this one towards the end because the next two are connected to each other. Shout out from Louisiana and Jersey. Show yourself forgiveness. Forgive yourself for not leaving sooner. Forgiveness of self. Forgive yourself for allowing things to happen. Forgive yourself for not leaving. Forgive yourself for not listening to somebody who might have said, leave that person. Forgive yourself for letting this person do things that you might not have felt comfortable to. Forgive yourself for the things that happen to you. Forgive yourself. Now, this is a hard one. Like I said, I put these two at the end because these are hard. These two are trigger ones, but we're going to go with the first one. Forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. We all have been bamboozled at some point with someone who sold us a lemon, with someone who said they cared, someone who said they would love us, someone who went through all and checked all the boxes except the one that was around their heart. They made love to us in ways that made us believe that they really care. Like, my God, how could she or he love me this way and still then go out and love somebody else because they never loved you to begin with? And we have to be okay with that. And we have to forgive ourselves for allowing ourselves to be in a situation where somebody took advantage of us. We have to not beat ourselves up and just keep replaying. Why did I stay that night? Why didn't I leave? And why did I give this man 5 years? Why did I have children with this young lady? And why did I do this? And why did I do that? No, forgive yourself. We did it. It happened. It's real. It's done. Forgive yourself. We cannot go any further. You cannot expect healing. You cannot look to move on to the new you if you will not forgive yourself, because you will be trapped in a perpetual cycle of pain. Thank you for the hearts. Oh, they disappeared. There they go. Here they coming back. There go the hearts. Y'all better keep hitting them hearts. Y'all better stop playing. This is good stuff right here. All right. I don't even want to give number 16. Okay, here we go. All right, if you really want number 16, right, I want you to put, come on, Keith, just put number 16 in the chat. Is how, though? What is how? How to what? How it is shift the focus. You make that clear for me, Chloe. How what? And I'll answer it. All right, number 16. Chloe, redo that one. Here we go. Y'all ready? All right, number 16. We done went this far together. Come on, y'all gonna rock out with me. Y'all done rode this far. That's not gonna be that bad. I hope not. All right, the final one to help you gain the closure that you need from a negative relationship or a toxic relationship, whichever one. They're both bad. Forgive your ex. Yes. You have to forgive the person who hurt you. I didn't say forget. I didn't say you had to like him or her. Forgive your ex. Forgive him. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. I just wanted to lay that on the table. It's not that bad. Just had to build it up a little bit. But yes, this is the one right here. And the reason why I put it at the end. There we go. Here come the nose. How that's like I said, that's why I left it at the end. Here's why. Is that, yeah, we seen the mess in Memphis. Hey, what's going on? The reason why we forgive or try the best we can, and I'm going to get to your how. How is by closing the door and say, you know what? I wish you well, and I hope that you get the help that you get. And that's how you forgive. And then move on. I'm glad. Thank you, Georgia Peach. That's the hardest one. That's why I left it at the end. No, it's not how many times. It's one time. You should not be allowing anybody to continuously hurt you, Miss Ellie. It's one time. I'm going to forgive you once I moved on. And I'm talking about once you're out of the relationship. You can forgive within a relationship, but the question, let me take that back to Miss Ellie. Miss Ellie, if a person is continuously not being who they say they are, then it's time to leave. You're in a bad situation, because if their actions are not matching their sorries, then it's time to go. But here's the thing. The way you guys ask how is by simply allowing yourself to understand that they played a role in hurting you. You played a role in hurting you, but you are now taking back all of your power. I forgive you because I don't want anything to deal with you. I forgive you because I am done and I am working on me completely. So the forgiveness is not for them. The forgiveness is for you. The forgiveness is for you to basically lay it to the side and say, I'm done. Yes, you hurt me. You hurt me bad. But now I am going to take back all of my power, all of my love, all of everything that I would have given you. And I'm going to give to myself and hold on to that until I feel comfortable that somebody else deserves to be in a position that I once let you have, male or female. That is why we forgive the person behind us. We don't leave anything on the plate when we throw the plate out. We leave it behind us. Hey, Ted. And that's the thing. And the reason why we forgive the ex is because, again, it is not for the ex. And, let's keep those hearts going. Let's go. Let's keep those hearts going. We're up to 25,000. I like it. Let's go. And the reason why is because we are becoming or going to become a whole new person. We are going to grow into the new person with the experience and knowledge and understanding of what has happened. No, I speak nothing is easy, Chloe. Nothing is easy. All of this is the reason why counseling is necessary. Everything that I have given on this list is just the outlook. How long this takes is on the individual. No, none of this is easy. But this is why we actually have to know the focus. This is why we actually, when we go to counseling, this is why we have to understand what it is that we need to do if we're going to heal. Easy is not even something that you've never heard me mention easy, because I know it's not. I'm telling you right now, for some people, it takes years. For some people, it takes months. And for some people, sadly, they don't ever allow themselves to fully heal. I don't believe that they can't be healed, or I wouldn't do what I do. But I have to be honest. There's some people that come to counseling sessions and refuse to allow themselves to heal. And here's what happens when that happens, right? The longer you allow somebody to rent space in your head because of the pain they caused you, they have now moved on to a better situation, or maybe even changed. And here you are stuck in a situation that you can control, not them. I'll give you an example. And again, I'm always going to be transparent. When I got out of my first marriage, I was not a good husband because I didn't know how to be. She wasn't a good wife because she didn't know how to be. So we were bad together. Bad together. Should have never been together. But it ain't all her fault. It's mine too. But I forgave her because I realized I'm done. All we're going to be is parents. We still got these boys to raise. So all we're going to be is parents. And I let that lay right there. Well, in a short amount of time, I was able to find somebody that I was able to figure out, but I still had to grow. It took me 5 years. And then 5 years and then 2 years of healing, I was able to get married. And so I've been with that person 23 years. My ex has not been married. My ex has not been in a long-term relationship. That's not my fault. I've already forgiven her. I pray for her because she's still the mother of my children. But her movements or what she chooses to do or how she chooses to do it is on her. I don't wish anything negative for her. And every time I talk to my sons, how your mom doing? And we don't talk. If anything, maybe 30 seconds, if that. And when I come to the house in New York to see the kids, if I see her, hey, how you doing? No disrespect. But where she is with her is on her. But for some people, they may never heal if they don't choose to. This list that I've given you today is just one section of the book that I'm writing. One section. We've worked on 3 different sections so far. Let me just check this one off here. So we've dealt with, let's see, this is closure. Okay, we've dealt with closure, which is today. We talked about redefining your personal happiness a couple weeks ago. And we talked about self-kindness. That's just 3 of the areas of my book. And the reason why I'm writing the book is because I know there's a lot of people hurting, because I know when I talk to them in counseling sessions, I hear it. What if all do you think it might be harder for women to recover than men? Not hard to say, because often men don't even acknowledge that they're in pain. So it's both, because a lot of it has to do with the relationship that you are in. It has nothing to do with gender. Women handle their pain differently than men, but we all hurt. And how we deal with hurt is different. But gender, pain don't care about gender. Pain gonna hurt. Pain gonna do what pain do. Pain is paining, as the kids say today. Now, how we deal with it says a lot about our experiences, says a lot about our intellect, says a lot about our belief system. But yeah, men and women just handle it differently. And sadly, when I try to get brothers to open up, they get nervous about feeling vulnerable, so they shut off. So also, I have a harder time with trying to get men to even accept the idea of healing. They simply want to just discard it like drawers and be like, I'm good, I'm going to go buy some new drawers. Nah, bruh. That's not how this works. So each is a little bit different, but pain is pain. I simply try to leave the door open and understand that there's pathways to helping both male and female. God will put you back together, rebuild you. Yes, he will. But what happens to those that don't believe in God, GA? My spirituality and belief in God helped me. Yes. And you have to lean on that. I'm a man of faith too. My faith and my wife is what helped me. My faith and my faith in God and my wife is what helped me restore my crown. But again, what happens to those that don't believe in any type of spiritual positioning? We can't leave our brothers and sisters out here to hurt. Without that, we got to find a way to help them too. But I do believe that faith, when done correctly, can be a tremendous way to help bring closure to one's pain. It can help give guidance and healing. But I also have to take into consideration all of those who are not of any particular faith. We still got to help those brothers and sisters, because I don't want to see anybody in pain. Just wanted to say hello. Hey, how you doing, K-Bo? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. So you have the list of 16 ready. I think Ellie has went over it. So we have the list of 16. Now we're ready to do this Leela James thing here, because I want to go through Leela James. Now, real quick, I'm going to play the song of Leela, and then I want to go through her lyrics, because her lyrics, and I want you to pay attention to the lyrics when I read them, simply because I want you to see some of the things that we talked about in the list, okay? So now while I'm playing this song, all right, because this is our musical interlude, because I got about a good 15 minutes to a half an hour. I'm going to give you about another good 15 minutes. All right. While the music is playing, I may not play the whole thing, but while the music is playing, y'all better be banging those hearts out, because I believe this was some pretty good content today. But we're not done yet. We're not done, because I'm going to give you, if you're here with me, I'm going to give you something to go with today, because I only come on once a week, and I can't be on here wasting your time or wasting mine. So I want to make sure I'm giving y'all something that can help, because I ain't getting into all this drama that I see around me. I'm trying to heal these situations going on around here. I ain't trying to add to the pain that I'm seeing. And I'm seeing way too much time being spent on talking about situations. Off to work? Okay. Well, appreciate you. Glad you was here. All right. So let's rock out with Leela. And then we're going to go into these lyrics real quick. And I want you to pay attention to her lyrics, because I think they're outstanding, by the way. And whoever's writing this, actually, I got to go look up and see who wrote these lyrics. Tell no lies, you see my tears. Woo! I guess I was wrong, trying to be strong. Signs were so clear. Told myself I would never be with someone who could not love me. Come on now. I got caught up in the fantasy. But honestly, put it on me. If it makes you feel better, blame me. Woo! You can lie. It don't even matter. Now this is my line right here. Because heaven knows everything you did to me. And the hell it took to leave. Come on, Leela. Woo! It's all mine. Makes you feel better. Makes you feel better. Come on. Go and say it's my fault. Tell them I lost. Losing you is a win. Let's go. Even through the heartbreak. Make a mistake and then try again and again. Come on. Woo! I'm not mad at you. It's just who you are. When things go so far. Come on, Leela. You wasn't worth all this. I should have stayed on my own. Woo! I should have been gone. Come on. Woo! It makes you feel better. Let's go. Tap them hearts, guys. Put it on me. Don't even matter. Heaven knows everything you did to me. Why in the hell it took so long to leave? Let's go. Put it on me. Leela is the truth. Come on now. Better. Now to the bridge. Here we go. Never thought we'd end like this. Got fooled when we made love. It was fake love. Come on now. Was it really real? Did you ever feel for me like I felt for you? And all the things I did for you. Come on, Leela. You know it's the truth. Here we go. Woo! Come on. Woo! Put it on me. It don't even matter. It knows everything you did to me. Come on now, keep them hearts going. Woo! Come on. I love music. It touches a part of me that just allows me to be me. You can put it on me. Ooh. If it makes you feel better. Woo. All right, guys. There it is. But now let's go through this real quick. Woo, the great Leela James, actually complicated, put it on, actually all her joints. And you hear me play them at different times on my page because I'm a big Leela James fan. But actually, I'm a big music fan because I know that music expresses how I feel. And instead of me saying it sometimes, I like what's saying in the song. So let me just go through something. So rock out with me. Here we go. All right? Because I said I wanted to do this, right? And so put it on me. Take a look at my eyes. They tell no lies. You see my tears. Oh, I guess I was wrong, trying to be so strong. Signs were so clear. I told myself I would never be with someone who could not love me. I got caught up in the fantasy, but honestly, and I think that's important. See, and the reason why this is so important is she's saying, how did I get here? How did I let this happen? I said to myself, I wouldn't be here. And the reason why I chose this song, and I'm going to keep going, is that often we will look at other situations and go, that ain't happening to me. I ain't letting no man, no woman do that to me. Stop. Because when we get caught up in our emotions, when we get caught up in the things that we love, sometimes we're blinded. Now, the chorus, put it on me. And this is the, now you can see the healing. That's the reason why I chose this song to talk about today is, the healing is if that's what's going to work for you, if lying about it on me is what's going to work for you, fine, go ahead. Because put it on me this time. If it makes you feel better, blame it on me. You can lie, but it don't even matter. No. Because heaven knows everything that you did to me. Now that to me is the reason why that line hits home because it's real to me. Because we can lie to men, women lie all the time, but you can't lie to God. That's how I feel. So God knows. And when somebody can say in their song, God knows everything, heaven knows everything that you did to me. Why in the hell it took so long to leave? She's acknowledging the present, but she's also acknowledging the past. Why did it take me so long to leave? That's the reflection that we talked about. Put it on me. It's all mine. I'll take it. And so what she's accepting is her role. And she's basically, if that's what you need to do it. Put it on me. Because she's good with her. So to Chloe, like you were saying, nothing's easy. But when you get to a point of healing, then it don't matter what that person did or does or is doing. Because once we forgive them and close that door completely, it's all about us. Next verse. Go and say it's my fault. Go on, do what you're going to do. Tell folks I lost, which a lot of folks do. They lost. They could have been with me. They lost. Because losing you is a win. Because even through the heartbreak, now this is important. This is where it's looking towards the vision of what will be. And this is why we got to stay in the present. Because losing you is a win. Because even through the heartbreak, it's better than the mistake of trying again and again. That is something critical. Even through the heartbreak, it's better than to keep going over and over again with you. I'm good even through the heartbreak. I just shouldn't have let things go so far. She's acknowledging her past. She's accepting what she did. That's taking the responsibility of her role in it, but still looking forward. Now, I just wanted to show you that she's literally in a song showing you many of the things that I talked about in action. Why you wasn't where? Okay, here we go back. And I'm not, so it's better to make a mistake over and over again. I'm not mad. You're just who you are. I just shouldn't have let things go so far. And that's another thing too. People are going to be who they are. If they were messed up from the beginning and lied to you, you're not going to see it until they show it. That's not your fault. If a person lied to you and said they loved you and didn't complete the deal, that's not you. But how long did you stay when you figured it out? You wasn't worth all this. I should have stayed on my own. Now she's reflecting again. I should have been gone. And again, many of us know that we should leave, but we stayed or stay. We got to get out of something that we know is negative. And then, of course, the chorus again. And then the bridge, I never thought it would end like this. Got fooled when we made love. And I mentioned this. Many people, men and women, will try to use the act of making love. Put It On Me by Leela James. Many men and women will use the act of making love as a way to be able to blind you to the foolishness. If I can make you feel emotional, if I can get you to the point of orgasm, you will forget the things that I am doing wrong. Got fooled when we made love. It was fake love. Was it really? Was it really real? Did you feel love for me like I felt for you, or all that and all the things that I did for you? You know it's true. And she's basically saying, you know what I did was true, but you were the fake one. And then, of course, she goes through the chorus again. Fantastic song. And Leela James, Put It On Me. And again, all of the things that we talked about today, guys, is all things that are designed to help. Now, I do want to say this as we get to the end. First of all, thank you to all of you that stayed and rocked with me today. Thank you to all of you that shared to other people. As I said, God willing, I'll be here every Friday at 11:30. And I want to make this offer. I am a real counselor. All my information is in my bio. If you click on my bio, my link tree, there's a discovery link, which you can fill out. It allows you to set up a discovery call, which is free, because we have to figure out if we're a fit to work with each other. And then what I would say is that if you're in some type of pain or you're struggling with past relationships, invest in yourself. I saw a TikTok the other day. The woman said, if you can afford to go out to dinner twice a month, you can afford counseling. If you can afford new shoes, you can invest in counseling. If you can afford to fly out somewhere to go on trips, you can afford counseling. Here's the thing that I don't do, guys. Let me just say this. I don't force counseling on anyone. I don't force my services. I don't force myself. I don't force. It's just something I don't do. If finances is an issue, have a conversation with me. Yeah, I charge what I charge, but that doesn't mean that I will not negotiate with you. That doesn't mean that I might not be willing to take less. But let's have a conversation, because the question becomes, if you're really in need of help, let's figure out what we can do. Now, do I work for free? Not all the time. Sometimes I do. And here's the thing, and let me just say this, and I got to be very real with it, right? The thing that hurts a lot of us, and I'm not going to say people of color. I'm going to get away from color and gender and all of that, is that when we expect quality, but we don't want to put any skin in the game, that's an issue. Often we want quality. We want quality, but we don't want to make any investment. So I want to ask you guys watching right now, right? I want to ask you this very serious question. Please share with me something of quality that everybody can just get their hands on. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I'm going to challenge you. Put it in the chat of something that is quality that you just get without having to lay out no money. Put it in the chat. Because I just seen some of you get what you pay for. I agree. And yes, we can fix this. Time. Is our time really quality though? We are all given the same amount of time. But is it quality? Time is what we make of it though. Time is available to everybody, but it's not quality. It becomes quality when we choose to make it quality. I'm saying something that you get for doing nothing. We all have time. We are all given time. We all have the same amount of time. Doesn't make it quality. Because there's actions that have to be put into place for the time to be of quality. I'm talking about where you ain't got to do nothing but show up and it's of quality. Because often, well, not everybody believes in God, but I'm with you there. God is of quality and I have to pay for it. But unfortunately, we know that a lot of people don't believe in God. So again, I have to figure out a way to try to offer something to them. I agree. And even if you are a believer in God, what happened? Jesus had a money bag. Jesus had money. That's what actually created the problem with Judas. When he had to give up the money bag, he didn't want to give it. Gratification, I like that. Nothing. Gratification, humility, again, all choices. And see, that's the thing. We have to choose. So when it comes to business, I'm a professional. And what you're investing in, and don't look at it like you're giving me money. You're not giving me money. You're investing in your health. You're investing in your happiness and my resources. I went to school to do this, and I do this on a regular, which means I'm getting better each time I do it. I bring that to the table. And when I come to the table with that experience, it's because I want to see you get better, so I got to get better. Well, when you invest in somebody you want to see, that's the reason why I said any counsel you choose, whether it's me or anybody, make sure they show you receipts. Make sure there's at least one person who says, my life changed working with that man. My life changed working with that woman. Because you want to at least be able to see that this person has done what they say they are trying to do for you. You're not no damn guinea pig. You don't want somebody out here trying stuff on you and they don't know if it works. I know I don't want that. You better show me that you've done this before. You eating in a restaurant, if the cook come out and go, I ain't never cooked before, but I'm going to try a few things. You ready? You getting up and leaving. You ain't never cooked before? Nah. But I got some ideas. It's going to be like a Martin episode. This time I'm going to make it boneless. I really needed counseling to going through a 40-year divorce. Okay, I'm here. Yeah, that was... Cole said, we ran out of meat a long time ago. Don't ask me what's in the meatloaf. He said, I'm going to make grandma's meatloaf. This time I'm making boneless. What the hell was in it before? That's because they had the wrong person in the kitchen. And if you've never watched Martin, you're not going to understand that episode where they had Martin in the back. Cole in the back cooking. I'm still stuck on stupid. I ain't going to waste your time right now. I'm doing a lot of tug of war. It's okay, Chloe. We all do. But that's the reason why now's the time. Bring it to the table. This is why we talk. This is why we have conversations. This is why we should search for groups that can feed into us, because when we don't understand, I'm here. Ask a question. If you don't understand something, let's go. I'm here for it. If you're not sure of something, ask a question. Because at the end of the day, it makes no sense if I'm not open. Oh, name of the song? Got you. Leela James, Put It On Me. Leela James, Put It On Me. And the thing is, often we're stuck in a position of silence because we don't open up. The thing that I've learned over the years, even in my own healing, you're only as good as the help that you allow to come. That's why our circles are critical. You're welcome. Our circles are critical. Want to save my marriage. I'm dealing with past issues. Thankful my husband is patient and loving. That's the start right there. Patience. That's two things that I pray for. I pray all the time. I pray for clarity. Lord, please show me what it is that you want me to see. And then the very next thing I ask for is, Lord, grant me patience to be able to have time to understand what it is that you allowed me to see. Because I ask for clarity, because I want to see what God wants me to see and what he wants me to do. But then I ask for patience so I can have time to understand it, to process it, to be able to do it in a way that it comes off authentic. Because if I'm not authentic, you won't react to it, and then I'm hurting somebody. And I have sworn I will hurt no one. I will step out of the way before I hurt you. So if I can't do anything, I'm going to tell you I can't do anything. I'm not the counselor for everybody, but we don't know that until we talk. So I got to talk to everybody. But I may not be that person for you. But then that's where referrals, that's where guidance comes. And also there's a period of, there has to be honesty on my part to say to you, I'm not going to take your money because you're offering it when I know I can't help you. I can't fix everybody. I would love to. And to some arrogance, I believe I can, but I'm realistic. I can't. But if I don't offer it to everybody, how will I know who to say I can't to? And if I don't offer it to everybody, I don't give people who really need help the opportunity to contact with me. So come on, I got about 5 minutes. Let's go on a little heart run for 5 minutes. Come on, y'all ready? I'm going to count it down from 5. And when I get to 1, just keep tapping the screen. Let's go for a hard minute and let's run those hearts up while we're sitting here. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat and I will gladly answer for you. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. Let's tap that screen. Let's get those hearts going for a couple of minutes. And if you have any questions, let's go. Come on, tap that screen. Why must I pray for clarity? Because you want to understand, you want clarity on what it is that is being presented to you. And all of us want clarity. Think about it. If you're on your job and your boss asks you to do something and they don't grant you clarity on what it is that you're going to do, then the first thing you're going to say is, I don't know what it is that you want me to do. So clarity gives us an opportunity to figure out how we can use our talents. So clarity is something that we all want because, again, when something is clear, now that doesn't mean that we can do it. But once it's clear, now we have an understanding of what we might need. We have an understanding of who we might need to get, or we have an understanding if it's something that we can do. So that's why I mentioned clarity and patience. And you got to be patient with yourself. Thank you for the hearts. Let's go. Let's keep going. Come on. We got about 45 seconds. Let's keep it going. Keep tapping that screen. Let's go, because I'm going to get ready to close out and end out today. I want you guys to have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Let's see what we're going to talk about next week. Next week, we are going to deal with... Okay. Let's see. Y'all give me the choice. I'm going to give you a choice, okay? Now, no checking in on your ex or offering yourself patience and grace. Which of those 2 areas you want to talk about next week? No personal or social media check-ins on your ex or offering yourself patience and grace. Which one you want? Why is it that God makes you seek out certain things in life? Because we still have to figure out for ourselves. We have free will. We make choices. Patience and grace. Okay, we got 1 for patience and grace. Patience and grace. Patience and grace. Okay, I see where we're leaning. Patience and grace. Okay, I got it. All right, I'll work on that. I'll have, I'll see, probably like 10. Patience and grace. Y'all got y'all hands down. Y'all want it. But back to your patience and grace. You got it, guys. I got it. So next week, we're going to talk about offering yourself patience and grace. I'll come up with steps on how to offer yourself patience and grace. That's what we'll talk about next Friday, which, again, will be in the book. So we've covered 3 of the areas that are going to be in the new book. But to your point, the reason why God allows us to find things on our own is because we have free will. But what he has given us, and if you're a person of faith, that's what I'm speaking to. If you're not a person of faith, it's not going to make sense. What he has given us is guidance. What he has given us in the book is an opportunity to learn, to be able to figure out when we make those choices, because in the end, we make the final say-so of what we're going to do with our lives. And so God plants opportunities for us to learn more about who he is and how we interact with ourselves, how we interact with him, and how we interact with others. So the clarity that we ask for is so that it makes that walk even easier. When does it mean when you numb to a? What does it mean? It doesn't even argue or fight anymore. Well, that can also be a way that you've protected yourself or walled yourself off from other individuals. And what you have to be careful is that way of dealing with things can close out the people who mean you well. And if we started to get numb to a lot, we have to be careful, because that's not the position that we want to be in. We're not creatures of numbness. We're creatures that need social interaction. We need others to connect with. And if we start to get to the point that we don't even argue and fight, then that's not the person you want to be with, because you should not be in a position of submission to the negative. Nobody, male or female, wants to be in a position of submission to someone that does not mean them well. What you want to do is be able to be in a position where happiness is the thing that you are attempting to attain. You cannot obtain happiness if you're in a position of numbness. The two don't coincide. Happiness needs room. It needs birth. It needs freedom. And when your happiness has been stolen from you, you can control that. That's why I talked about you are in control of your happiness. That's why we talked about ways to treat yourself kind, which is on my YouTube page. That was one of the other videos, shows that we did, where we talked about how to find self-kindness, not self-worth. I have it right here, self-kindness. And part of that in getting your kindness is working on boundaries. Is putting boundaries up to somebody and saying no, and to treat yourself well. Take time out. Upgrade your space. These are all things that we talked about. Compassion over criticism. Be more compassionate with yourself instead of criticizing yourself. Because the one thing that somebody who has hurt us has left us with is doubt. When someone that we cared about or care about is hurting us, we have doubt. And also that doubt carries over to new relationships. I know, because I'm counseling men and women who have doubts of the next person because of what the previous person did. So all of that has to be addressed, and at some point it has to be fixed. And the only way it can be addressed or fixed, it has to start with the person who's actually hurting. And that's why my hashtag, and Ellie put it up, my hashtag is "We Can Fix This." Now, the reason why that's my hashtag is that I believe when two or more people are together, we can fix whatever's wrong. My other hashtag is "Bring Me Your Pain." Now, the reason why I have that as my second hashtag is I can't do anything until you bring me your pain. See, once you bring me your pain, you activate me. You put me into the game. Now we can fix this. But you have to believe I can fix it before you even activate it. Because if you don't believe anybody can fix it, then you literally sit off to the side and go, I don't care what he's saying. He don't understand my pain. He don't know me. I don't even like the way he look. His head big. You'll start to come up with every excuse in the world of why I can't help you. Instead of stopping and saying, but damn, he helped that woman. He helped that man. He's helping those kids. Maybe he can help me. But that's a brave step that a person has to take. And I understand it. That's why "We Can Fix This" is my first hashtag. I put that out there for you to let you know I am here to help you fix this. And if I can't fix it, I'll work with you to find somebody who can. I'm not just going to cut you loose. But everything starts with the person who's hurt. Yes, the weight is on you. Now you may go, damn, I got to deal with the person hurting me and I got to deal with the healing. Yeah, that's the hard part. Is that you got to find a way to trust yourself enough to dust yourself off and get back into the game. But this time differently. Anybody else before I get ready to go? Anybody else? And again, thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for spending the time here. And thank you so much to Ellie. Can we get some more purple hearts for Ellie before we go? I just want to say thank you. This is a lot easier when I have somebody who's working the chats. It really is. And I don't even know, man, thank you. You are such a blessing, Ellie. Where's my other moderator? She ain't show up again today. I don't know. With my other moderator, we're going to have a meeting with management. No, listen, you give a person their flowers. Let them hear it. Let's get those purple hearts for Ellie. Come on. Ellie has been doing a tremendous job today. Let's give her flowers right now. I didn't see it today. I don't know. It's okay. It's still open. We don't fire people around here. Let's go. Let's give Ellie her flowers today. Let's give her those purple hearts because she did tremendously today. When do you traditionally host your live here? Every Friday, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. I am not live any other time. If I am, it's just because I was bored, but I very rarely get on any other time. I don't like getting on this app if I'm not prepared and I'm not ready to say something. I don't like wasting your time, and I definitely don't like wasting mine. And I just think there's way too much drama that goes on here, and I want to stay away from all that. So I come on every Friday, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. And if you miss any of the shows, just go over to my YouTube page. The link is in my bio. You'll see all the previous shows. This one will be there later on today, if not tomorrow, as soon as TikTok makes it available to me. So I have to wait for TikTok to allow me to download it. We missed one show. TikTok screwed up on the download for whatever reason. They said it wasn't available, and I wasn't able to download it. But for the most part, I keep my fingers crossed that there's no issues with TikTok, and it's not my app. And then I move it to a space that I'm in a little more in control. Eventually, I would like to create a private group to be able to have conversations away from the apps where they're more in control, where I'm more in control. But I have to build up the following for that. And that might be something I put out there because I have everything else that I need, from my website to the systems in place for people to reach me if they need services. And I do speak in a lot of different places. I have a couple of churches that I'm speaking at, as well as all the counseling I do. So I do have spots open. It is draining, Chloe, but it's draining when it's just you. It's draining if you feel that it all comes down to you. There are people out here to help you. There are people out here who will support you. There are people out here who will share the weight with you of your pain because they know what it was when they were in pain. That's the reason why we have to be open to sharing it with other people, because then we invite them in to help us heal. You need help? Okay. Look in my go to my bio. You'll see where it says discovery links. Just fill out the discovery session form. I'm here. I'm always open to have a call with somebody because this is what I do. Now, this is part of my business too. Now, don't get it wrong. I'm here. If you're ready, if you think you're ready for counseling and you think I'm somebody that can help you do that, I'm here. I have a couple other people, if I'm not that person, that I can refer you to as well. But the first step is yours. You take that first step. I got you. We can sit and talk. And the first call is always free anyway. Simply because I'm not going to charge you and you and I may not be. Nah, I don't do that. That first call is free so we can figure it out and we go from there. Hey, from Denver, let's go. Thank you, Ellie. Ellie did her thing today, y'all. She did her thing. I was watching. I was like trying to stay focused. I was like, oh, she doing her thing. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know about other people's rooms and moderators, but that's she on point. I thank you. So again, 16. There was 16 things today. So again, I hope that everybody enjoyed it. And yes, number 16, forgiving your ex. I said to you that was going to be a tough one. And the reason why I knew that was going to be a tough one is because I have been in counseling sessions. And, oh, you're more than welcome. I've been in counseling sessions. And when I have brought that one up, I have literally seen people triggered. Actually, I had one woman actually just ghost me and say she didn't want any more counseling sessions. She said, I don't want to be with no counselor who tells me I should forgive the person who hurt me. All I could do is wish her well. The pain that she had was deep, but she really got angry when I explained to her that part of healing is letting go of the past. And in forgiving your ex is not about him. It was about you closing the door to that so there is no connection to a negative past. She couldn't see it. So I was like, okay. And I don't try to fight you on your decision. I just try to offer what I do. And this is actually what I'm doing with this list here. I want to show you not just the list, how I'm able to converse, how I give information. My personality doesn't change. I'm this way, maybe a little more focused in the counseling sessions. But at the end of the day, I'm here to help. All right. What state are you in, a Shirley Lovely? A Shore You Lovely? What state are you in? And what steps have you taken to help change your situation? Indiana. What steps have you taken to help change your situation? Maybe we can help give you some advice on that too. Anybody in Indiana that's connected to social services as well? What have you contacted Indiana Social Services, Ashore? Ashore? We have 2 businesses that we just started. Okay, I'm lost. You started 2 businesses whilst. Okay, so you have the businesses in place. Where you? Okay. What happened with the 2 businesses? Because you can still go to social services to get help. So you have 2 businesses. Yeah, I would say set up a GoFundMe as well. It gives people an opportunity to see exactly what you're mentioning. And what are your 2 businesses? Just started last. What are the two businesses? Because money is not always going to come from starting businesses. That normally takes a while. What are the two businesses? Okay. So you put it back up. And have you contacted social services for individual help for what you're trying to do? Doing e-commerce in what particular area? E-commerce encapsulates a whole lot of things. What e-commerce work are you doing? In what reference? By being more clear, you give the people that are here opportunity to see what it is that maybe they can help you in that way. Because it's one thing you got to let folks know exactly what it is because then they can connect it. Yes. Yeah, it's the same for me because I got one counseling call today and then I'm done. I don't work again until Monday afternoon. I don't work the weekends for anybody. And I don't set up any sessions, and that's me time and family time. So that was the reason why I chose Friday, is I want to be able to give the work. And as a former educator, I want to try to give folks time to work on it. It's another reason why I don't come on all the time, because I want to be able to give you time to work on some things and maybe even stop by during the week and tell me how it worked out for you and whatever. And I just don't want to get people lost. I try to give you the meat and let you do whatever you're going to do with it. So I just hope that the information is helpful. I'm working on this book, and I'm hoping that this book will help with people because, again, it was an idea brought to me by somebody here on TikTok. And I'm already working on 2 other books as well. And this year, I'm going to get all 3 of the books out because the goal is to be able to create. And actually, with this book, there's going to be a course connected to it, too. So I'm putting that in place because that's the other area that I'm working on, is creating courses so you can get me in a lesser capacity, but you can actually go through the course and I can walk you through some of the ways that I walk through this on the West End, because I want to be in control of the services and products that I put out, because I don't want where I wake up one day and TikTok has cut everything that I've done away. That's why I move a lot of my more important things over to YouTube, as well as they're on my phone, because I don't like the idea when I see somebody say, oh, I lost all my content that was on this page. I don't worry about the content. My more important stuff is where it is. I don't worry about that. God bless you, former treatment counselor, severely abused and neglected. Oh, my condolences on the abuse, but I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you got past that. Got you. Almost I got you. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you got past that. And if there's anything that you can share with the group to tell them that what helped you, by all means. That's another thing too, guys. Yes, I run my mouth a lot, but remember, this is a Q&A too. If you have questions, bring it out. Let's talk about it, because your questions also trigger other people to feel comfortable that somebody else feels that same way. So hugs. So T Mama, I appreciate that. Hey, let's give some purple hearts to T Mama. Listen. And actually, I tell you what. Everybody who's a survivor of some type of physical situation in a relationship, put a purple heart up. Let's give a purple heart up for everybody. No, I was a treat. Okay, got you. Cool. Another fellow counselor, love it. Let's put purple hearts up for everybody then. Everybody that's going through something negative with somebody or is in something negative right now, put a purple heart up, because we're going to find a way to offer help. And shout out to you, T Mama, for being a counselor, treatment counselor. We need more folks that are willing to help other people. Put those purple hearts up to everybody that, if you're going through something, have been through something, because it's important when we find the things that bonds us together, that connects us. There you go. Come on now. There we go. Love it. And that's another way to use social media, as I mentioned. When you use social media and can find some other people to build with, it's a safe way, because you don't have to give anything or do anything. I'm here in Delaware, but I'm safe in my office. So if I talk to somebody, I'm not at risk of anything happening to me. And that's one of the things, that you can actually open that door to get some of the healing that you need by having a conversation. Just pick and choose who you allow into your space. I want to forgive my parents, but I don't know how. That's a great question. One of the things that you do is, one, just simply look at the fact that you're here now. Forgive them for what they did by just simply saying, you know what? Whatever you did, you did. I forgive you, but I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to just acknowledge what you did. I'm acknowledge why I don't like you, and I'm just going to focus on me. And I'm going to go forward. I'm not going to entertain any negativity towards you. You did what you did, but I'm still here. I'm good. I'm going to start this all over again for me. Thank you, Keith, for being you. You have been the truth since I met you here months ago. I appreciate you. Cloder, so thank you. And that means a lot to me because, yes, you see how I've come into other places. I don't come into other places just to be on. I'm not here for clout. I'm not here for likes. You see I don't get on here and asking for gifts and all that. I don't get into the battles. I'm here to give quality information to people who may be in pain. The Lord will take care of the rest. I'm a professional. The Lord will take care of everything else. What I have found is that we got too many people posing, and it creates a problem, and it muddies the water. And I'm not here for attention. So I only come on once a week. I'm good. Because I think when I see people on 4, 5, and 6 and 7 hours, my concern is, who are you helping? How do you help? Thank you. Nice. And Keith means beloved. So I found that out. I like that. It's a Gaelic Irish name. Keith means beloved, even though everybody calls me Kevin, which drives me crazy. And so I'll take that. And plus my mom named me Kevin, so I love my mom. So you got to respect that. But yeah, I just feel I've been on social media since 1994, back when MSN and Netscape was a thing. But the first 37 years of my life, I was a whore. I was out here living my life as foul as any man out here. But the last 18, I was the wolf for 37 years, and I was good as a wolf. And what I learned is I had to become the shepherd, and the only way to be a great shepherd was to be transparent. My question is always, how you paying your bills? How you on live 4 hours talking about nothing? Well, that's the thing, is that many of them are doing it at work and risking losing their jobs just to be on social media, and many of them are not working. And many of them are working jobs that they can actually be on that time, which means they're not making a whole lot of money. And the thing that you have to look at, guys, and it's real simple, because of social media, we get to see how billionaires move, right? You don't see billionaires on social media all day. And if you just stop and look at the conversations that are had in a lot of these groups, they're not really turning into anything tangible except drama. And a lot of people stay on because they're trying to get the gifts, the little pennies that TikTok throws at you, that hoping that you'll stay on because then their advertisers gain. I ain't got time for that. I don't make the bulk of my money I don't make major money on social media. I don't. What I'm creating is a footprint. And here's what I mean by that. And I have no problem. I'll be transparent. I'll give my business tips. When I do business with companies, or I do business with churches, or I do business with schools, well, the first thing that they're going to do is a Google search. They're going to want to see who I am, and what I do. Okay, so when they do that, hey, thank you so much for the hat. Hey, look at that. I look corny in a mustache hat. I like that, though. It was cute. Thank you so much. You sent that. Hey, thank you so much. What's that? Anita? Okay, thank you so much for that. But a lot of times, when these schools or when these places are doing these Google search, I need a social footprint that fits what I'm doing business for. So when they can come on and they say, well, is he on TikTok? Yes. Well, you see my social footprint there. Is he on Facebook? Yes. You see my social footprint there. I'm on IG. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on all of the sites. But all of my sites will show you exactly who I am. Oh, I got a question for you. How do you know you are a placeholder? In what capacity, Chloe? I want to ask that clarity before I answer the question. Placeholder in what capacity? And then I can answer that, because I don't want to be off subject of from where you're asking questions. So a placeholder in what capacity? And I'll gladly answer that question. So when I come on with the idea of offering information. I come on to entertain, inform, and educate. So if I've educated you, entertained you, and informed you, I did my job. And then when I get off, I'll go back to just posting my 1 or 2 messages of what I'm trying to get out for the day. And then I get off. In a relationship, holding space until the next girl comes. The problem with that is most people are not going to come out with that, so that's hard. What you have to pay attention to is, what are you gaining from the relationship? If a person is just waiting out their time with this person while they're killing themselves. And I'm going to tell you why. If I'm with a young lady and I'm like, I really don't want to be with her, but I'm just kind of hanging out with her till I meet the next person, 2 things is happening. 1, I'm wasting time with somebody I really don't want to be with. 2, I can't really be with the new person that I meet the way that I want, because if I meet her and she's really about me and I'm like, she's like, are you single? Now I either got to lie or I got to say, no, I'm not, but I'm with some chick I don't really like. Well, that's either way are both starting off negative. If you are with somebody who you do not want to be with, cut them loose. Be okay with being alone, not lonely, but alone. So if and when, and always think positive, when you meet the next person that you really want to be with, you are ready and able. And in that time, work on you. In that time between relationships, like I think is it Neo or no, whatever the song is, work on that degree, get the gym, do whatever you're going to do that makes you better at being you. So when you are presented with an equal or a person that you really want to be with, so what you up to? Just taking care of me. Then there's no reason to step back. You always do a great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you, Chloe. I appreciate that. And thank you. And it was that Ognita. Is that Ognita? And I want to make sure I'm saying it right. I hate messing up people's names. Thank you, Ognita. I try. It's what I do. Today was. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, that's the goal, guys. Because if you worry about being happy, things change. The minute you're not happy, then should trigger Anita. There we go. Thank you, Anita. Automatically, if you're not happy, it should trigger in yourself. Why am I here? If you're at a job and you're not happy, why am I here? Now, if you're here because it pays the bills, okay, that's a reason. If you're here because you don't have somewhere else to live, okay. Then now you know what work you have to do. I always talk about Sleeping with the Enemy, right? The movie Sleeping with the Enemy. And I'm a big movie junkie too, besides music. She realized I'm in an abusive relationship. This guy is harming me. So what did she do? She learned how to swim. What did she do? She set her plan into motion. She put everything into motion down to faking her death. Even down to, how am I going to know how to swim back to my apartment? I'm going to knock the light out. So when I look at all the lights being out, the one with the light out is going to show me to my house. You know why she messed up? Because the toilet didn't flush the right way. And if you didn't see the movie, then you won't know what I'm talking about. She was good until the toilet didn't flush. And that's what you got to understand too, guys. Sometimes the stupidest thing can mess up a plan. But she still had a great plan. But because she met somebody who was nice, she gained confidence. So much so that she was like, and the best line in the movie is, hello? I like to report that an intruder. He was like, what are you talking about? If you've never seen Sleep with the Enemy, fantastic movie. I loved it. Because it speaks to a lot of things that have to happen. I asked because I like when I talk my man about progression things, he gives excuses. Well, if those excuses are piling up, might be time to go, love. Always give a person a chance by having honest conversations. But if the person is no longer being honest, or if the conversations are stale and that person doesn't want to see you as the person that you're supposed to be, time to go. Time to never be scared to walk away from somebody who does not care for you. Daddy, be careful. Looks like we got you on the block list. And tell you, what's the daddy thing for? Talk to me. Yeah, the towels had to always be straight and everything. That's how she knew he had been in the house when, and grandma too. Old lady gave away the business too. But you know, he would have never found the old lady if the toilet flushed right. No response is a response. Yes. No conversation is a conversation. Silence is a conversation. Don't get it twisted. Do you love me? I asked you, do you love me? See, I just said a whole lot without saying anything. At that time that movie came out, I was dating some. Oh, wow. So it really hit home for you. I saw that in the movies too. But yeah, if the toilet had flushed the right way, she was good. Damn toilet. I know when we end, he will give what I'm asking for the next woman with less ish. So what? Who cares? Whatever somebody does when they're not with you should never matter. And actually, we talked about, that's in my book too. That's the number 12. No personal social media check-ins on your ex. Whatever somebody is going to do or become after you two are no longer together does not matter to you. My ex hates that I became successful after. She even said in one of our last conversations, she said, I guess I was the I guess I was the albatross around your neck. I guess I'm the reason why you couldn't do whatever. And I was like, no, 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 boo. You don't get that. You don't get to think that you're the reason that I became successful or I was not successful was because of you. No, not at all. It had nothing to do with you. It had to do with that my mother and grandmother raised me to be self-sustainable, and I had allowed that to go when I was with you. But you're not the reason why I was able to turn it around. I'm not going to give you that. Because she said, I guess I'm the albatross around your neck that kept you from doing things. No, you did not. You didn't keep me for anything. It was me. I said, we're good. It just didn't work, and that's what it is. And I hold no ill feelings towards my ex simply because I am not the cause or the reason for her happiness. I am part of the reason for her unhappiness, so I step out the way to help her find her happiness. No, that's not what I mean. I'm saying I don't want to settle a compromise. Then you shouldn't. And you don't. And when you tell a person that, tell them that. All right, have a good one. Ellie, thank you so much. I will see you next week. I appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you did. Actually, I am going to jump off too. I've been on way longer than I should have, but I love talking to you guys. And I simply want to say this to everybody. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to spend some time with me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for spending time. Thank you for the shares. And I will see you next Friday. But I am off and on in terms of what I post. Please come by and interact with some of my other videos. Leave me your thoughts. I always interact. I always try to respond. And again, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful weekend and please be safe. All right, take it easy. God bless, guys.